He does exactly what he wants to do. He has no plan. Collecting wild bush honey, spearing mud crabs. Well, that's typical of a day in the life of Eddie James here at Cape Leveque on the Kimberley coast of Western Australia. I'm Grainger. Welcome to TravelOz. It's not that Eddie James has to live the same way as his Indigenous ancestors, it's that he's chosen to. Whether it be playing with his pet sea eagle, collecting wild honey, or spearing mud crabs, it's what Eddie loves to do.
Going back in time.
Living off the land with Eddie James in this episode of TravelOz. Also, the two Tims take us fishing on the Gulf of Carpentaria, landing and cooking the catch of the day. And down to Tasmania's Tamar Valley, high speed through the treetops, seahorses galore. The distinctive sandstone bluffs of the Kimberley coast and a century-old lighthouse are welcoming us to Cape Leveque at the tip of Western Australia's Dampier Peninsula. This remote paradise, 1 hour's flight north of Broome, is the site of a wilderness camp known as Cooljaman, which is owned and operated by the local Aboriginal communities. One very colourful Indigenous family living close to Cape Leveque has their own pet sea eagle, which greets us today. So, who we got here?
And Rambly, sea eagle.
Eddie, most people have a dog, but you're happy with a sea eagle as a pet, eh?
Yeah, mostly happy with the sea eagle.
What about feeding? You feed her fish?
Mainly fish, yes, mainly fish.
And how on earth did you get her?
One of my boys went out on the boat one day on the islands and found it off the nest on the rocks.
So it's what, about 2-3 months old now?
Yeah, probably 2-3 months.
Now, what's going to happen to her now? Will she just live with you forever now, or will she eventually return to the wild?
She'll probably return to the wild and then probably return.
For a bird of prey, Amberley is one very friendly member of Eddie James's extended family. They're spending these hot tropical days sheltering under their veranda with Eddie's father-in-law, Paul Sampy. Now, Paul shows us some of the engravings he's made on shells, the sort of work that has led the West Australian government naming him as a state living treasure for a lifetime of work enhancing the artistic and cultural life of the state. So, Paul, a wonderful honour to be known as a state living treasure.
It is a great honour.
Boomerangs, well, they're music to Paul Sampy's ears. Then it's time to go bush. Eddie is looking for a hive of native bees. He plans to collect some bush honey. Right, so we've got a wild bee's nest here.
Yeah, small native bees.
Of all the trees around here, how have you picked this tree?
We'll listen for the buzzing noise, and you can hear it buzzing.
There's going to be some good honey in there, eh?
Yeah.
All right, how do we get it?
We're going to cut it open with the axe.
With the colony of wild bees nesting deep inside this branch, Eddie uses his axe to expose their honeycomb. Bit of honey already?
Yeah.
Can you eat a bit of that?
Yeah.
There's the little bees. You can see the little bees there.
Yeah.
You're not worried about being stung?
No, they don't have a stinger at all. So they're more like flies, you might say.
That's about it, eh?
I think that's about it.
Not too much honey there, but you'd consider this a real delicacy?
Yes.
All right, well, why don't we both have a bit? Got a very distinct taste of its own.
Yeah.
Not quite as sweet or as normal honey.
Different pollen. Makes it different.
So you consider this a delicacy?
One of the best, yeah.
Another delicacy Eddie shows me today is both good tasting and therapeutic.
It's not a bush tucker that people collect. This one.
What's this one called?
We call it chungun.
Chugan?
Chungun.
Chugan. Small, so you'd need a few of those, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
Few.
A bit like a custard apple, actually. So that's good eating and also a bit of medicinal value as well.
Yes, it is for diarrhea.
Close by, Eddie shows me some bush medicine that he and his family use regularly. So what's it on, a little berry or something?
Yeah, it's got some fair berries. You know, one here.
Now, how often would you use this?
We use it all the time.
Yeah.
Very often, yeah.
Yeah.
The leaves here we use for smoking.
And Eddie, you'll use this way ahead of any regular Western chemist.
Yes, we'd go back to the bush area and we find special trees, and we use still bush medicine all the time, and it's still in use today.
Then there's bush soap. Take the soft leaves of the acacia bush, rub them vigorously, add to water, and watch it lather up. Beats a bar of soap any time, says Eddie. It's amazing to think that soap can come in the form of a plant and not in a bar, eh?
Straight from the plant. There you have it, some bush soap.
The next exercise will take Eddie and his nephew Waylon the rest of the afternoon. The tidal waters and the mangrove swamps are rising fast. Perfect conditions to spot and catch mud crabs. If Eddie's hunt is successful, he plans to light a fire and barbecue his catch on one of the Kimberley Coast's beaches nearby. All that's needed is Eddie's sharp eyes and deft hand to spear one.
I think I have a crab over there. So I'm just gonna go and check if it's a crab. And I'm gonna make my way over here. And I see the little black figure moving in the water. A little bit of movement in the water. So I'm gonna make my way over there and see if it's a crab or see if I can grab it.
First throw is a miss. The crab scurries, but not too far away. And Eddie's second attempt finds its mark.
Got a mud crab. Yeah, good eating.
A change of tactics now. Eddie and Waylon venture into the thickest mangrove roots. This is the way his ancestors will have hunted for thousands of years, although he does have the advantage of a modern steel spear.
When the tide is going out, a crab usually follow the tide out, and if it finds the hole, it would burrow back into the hole and stay in there until the incoming tide.
10 minutes of probing, and Eddie hooks another whopper.
Yeah, we're gonna go and throw them on the fire, cook them up and have some feed.
The best part about Western Australia's west-facing coastline is you can watch the sun set across the water. It's in this stunning setting that Eddie lights a fire to barbecue the catch of the day. And that's the way, straight onto the coals. You live in that every day, this is your life.
This is life for us, yes, I say.
And when I was asking you what you're doing tomorrow, you were telling me, well, whatever you decide, no plans.
No plans here, we just wake up in the morning and just go from there.
As you can imagine, the meal is every bit as good as the view.
TravelOz.